Do we just say the whole, anyway?
Just one line.
Vitapopasamanicha. Let's see.
Vitapopasamanicha.
Haranti smarataschitam.
Haranti smarataschitam.
Govinda bhihitani me.
Govinda bhihitani me. Do it again.
What? You want to chant?
What? Oh, ready? Deshakalarta yuktani.
Thank you. Kala yuktani.
Ritapopas samanicha.
Vitapopasamanicha.
Haranti smarataschitam.
Haranti smarataschitam.
Govinda bhihitani me.
Govinda bhihitani me. Anybody else want to chant? Deshakalarta yuktani. Vitapopasamanicha. Haranti smarataschitam. Govinda bhihitani me. Anyone else? Deshakalarta yuktani. Vitapopasamanicha. Haranti smarataschitam. Govinda bhihitani me. Deshakalarta yuktani. Vitapopasamanicha. Haranti smarataschitam. Govinda bhihitani me.
Deshakalarta yuktani.
Deshakalarta yuktani. Vitapopasamanicha. Haranti smarataschitam. Govinda bhihitani me. 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 Desha, space. Kala, time. Artha, importance. Yuktani, impregnated with. Hrit, the heart. Tapa, burning. Upashamani, extinguishing. Cha, and. Haranti, are attracting. Smarataha, by remembering. Chitam, mind. Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Pleasure. Abhihitani, narrated by. Me, unto me. Translation. Now I am attracted to those instructions imparted to me by the personality of Godhead, Govinda, because they are impregnated with instruction for relieving the burning heart in all circumstances of time and space. Purport. Do you have everyone read translation or no? Okay. Herein, Arjuna refers to the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, which was imparted to him by the Lord on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The Lord left behind him the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, not for the benefit of Arjuna alone, but also for all time and in all lands. The Bhagavad Gita was spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Bhagavad Gita, being spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom. It is nicely presented by the Lord Himself, and for all who have very little time to go through the vast Vedic literatures like the Upanishads, Puranas, and Vedanta Sutras. It is put within the study of the great historical epic Mahabharata, which was especially prepared for the less intelligent class, namely the women, laborers, and those who are worthless descendants of the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and higher sections of the Vaishyas. The problem which arose in the heart of Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra was solved by the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. Again, after the departure of the Lord from the vision of earthly people, when Arjuna was face to face with being vanquished in his acquired power and prominence, he wanted again to remember the great teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, just to teach all concerned that the Bhagavad Gita can be consulted in all critical times, not only for solace from all kinds of mental agonies, but also for the way out of great entanglements which may embarrass one in some critical hour. Should I continue or did you want to?
I think you should finish the whole thing. 'Cause we don't have
Okay.
time.
The merciful Lord left behind him the great teachings of the Bhagavad Gita so that one can take instructions of the Lord even when he is not visible to material eyesight. Material senses cannot have any estimation of the Supreme Lord, but by his inconceivable power, the Lord can incarnate himself to the sense perception of the conditioned souls in a suitable manner through the agency of matter, which is also another form of the Lord's manifested energy. Thus, the Bhagavad Gita, or any authentic spiritual sound representation of the Lord, is also the incarnation of the Lord. There is no difference between the sound representation of the Lord and the Lord Himself. One can derive the same benefit from the Bhagavad Gita as Arjuna did in the personal presence of the Lord. The faithful human being who is desirous of being liberated from the clutches of material existence can very easily take advantage of the Bhagavad Gita. And with this in view, the Lord instructed Arjuna as if Arjuna were in need of it. In the Bhagavad Gita, 5 important factors of knowledge have been delineated pertaining to 1. The Supreme Lord, 2. The living being, 3. Nature, 4. Time and space, and 5. The process of activity. Out of these, the Supreme Lord and the living being are qualitatively one. The difference between the two has been analyzed as the difference between the whole and the part and parcel. Nature is inert matter. Nature is inert matter displaying the interaction of 3 different modes, and eternal time and unlimited space are considered to be beyond the existence of the material nature. Activities of the living being are different varieties of aptitudes which can entrap or liberate the living being within and without material nature. All these subject matters are concisely discussed in the Bhagavad Gita, and later the subject matters are elaborated in the Srimad Bhagavatam for further enlightenment. Out of the 5 subjects, the Supreme Lord, the living entity, nature, and time and space are eternal. But the living entity, nature, and time are under the direction of the Supreme Lord, who is absolute and completely independent of any other control. The Supreme Lord is the supreme controller. The material activity of the living being is beginningless, but it can be rectified by transferal into the spiritual quality. Thus, it can seize its material qualitative reactions. Both the Lord and the living entity are cognizant, and both have the sense of identification, of being conscious as a living force. But the living being under the condition of material nature, called Mahatattva, misidentifies himself as being different from the Lord. The whole scheme of Vedic wisdom is targeted to the aim of eradicating such a misconception and thus liberating the living being from the illusion of material identification. When such an illusion is eradicated by knowledge and renunciation, the living beings are responsible actors and enjoyers also. The sense of enjoyment in the Lord is real, but such a sense in the living being is a sort of wishful desire only. This difference in consciousness is the distinction of the 2 entities, namely the Lord and the living being. Otherwise, there is no difference between the Lord and the living being. The living being is therefore eternally one and different simultaneously. The whole instruction of Bhagavad Gita stands on this principle. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord and the living being are both described as Sanatana, or eternal, and the Lord's abode, far beyond the material sky, is also described as Sanatana. The living being is invited to live in the Sanatana existence of the Lord, and the process which can help a living being to approach the Lord's abode, where the liberated activity of the soul is exhibited, is called Sanatana Dharma. When one cannot, however, reach the eternal abode of the Lord without being free from the misconception of material identification. And the Bhagavad Gita gives us the clue how to achieve this stage of perfection. The process of being liberated from the misconception of material identification is called, in different stages, fruit of activity, empiric philosophy, and devotional service, up to transcendental realization. Such transcendental realization is made possible by dovetailing all the above items in relation with the Lord. Prescribed duties of the human being, as directed in the Vedas, can gradually purify the sinful mind of the conditioned soul and raise him to the stage of knowledge. The purified stage of acquiring knowledge becomes the basis of devotional service to the Lord. As long as one is engaged in researching the solution of the problems of life, his knowledge is called jnana, or purified knowledge. But on realizing the actual solution of life, one becomes situated in the devotional service of the Lord. The Bhagavad Gita begins with the problems of life by discriminating the soul from the elements of matter, and proves by all reason and argument that the soul is indestructible in all circumstances, and that the outer covering of matter, the body and the mind, change for another term of existence which is full of miseries. The Bhagavad Gita is therefore meant for terminating all different types of miseries. And Arjuna took shelter of this great knowledge, which had been imparted to him during the Kurukshetra battle. Want me to
Okay,
read
we
that?
got like 3 minutes, so first of all, You read way better than I read.
Do
So
you want me to read the
that's
translation
a
again?
plus. You can read the translation again, and then we can ask you for one question.
Any questions? Now I am attracted to those instructions imparted to me by the personality of Godhead, Govinda, because they are impregnated with instructions for relieving the burning heart in all circumstances of time and space.
It's very,
बंदों को हिंदी में ट्रांसलेशन चाहिए सुबोधे प्रभु कर सकते हैं वो पीछे बैठ सकते हैं हाँ सुबोधे प्रभु सुबोधे को ट्राई करें मुझे ये बांग्ला भी कर सकते हैं ये बांग्ला को तो जिनको बंदों को बांग्ला में हिंदी में ट्रांसलेशन चाहिए सुबोधे प्रभु पीछे बैठ जाइए साथ ही साथ जो पीछे में
We'll tell the sense later.
okay. Anyway, Arjun is a pure devotee. He was not in any illusion. Krishna put him into illusion so that the Bhagavad Gita could be spoken. And the Bhagavad Gita, as it says in here, is not just for Arjun, it's for everyone, for all time. Even it was for all time originally when Krishna spoke it to the sun god Vivaswan millions of years ago, but somehow it was broken. So he spoke it again to reestablish his religious principles. So, and it's oh, this is something I was thinking of today. We were distributing Bhagavad Gitas for a few days in one place, and one lady, this is a Westerner, she got a Bhagavad Gita, and then she came back like the next day or the next day. We may have been there a week, and she found one of the devotees, and she said, "This book puts all the pieces of the puzzle together."
Nice.
And that's just some Westerner who never heard of Bhagavad Gita. She just started reading it, and she said that. So it's for everyone. Everything is there in Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada even says this may be the only book that you ever read. You don't have to even read any other books. Of course, he's given us so many books, and we should read them. But even if you only read Bhagavad Gita, you can completely perfect your life. Shiva?
Oh, yes, it's the essence. Like if you have milk, it's the cream on the top. You know, it's the best. You know, I mean, everything is there in Bhagavad Gita. Like you said, the five topics. You know, God, the living entity, time and space, Prakriti, and karma. That's all there. And they're all eternal except for karma. And it's said that this material world, you know, was created by the Lord, but He also gives instructions on what to do when we're here, how to deal with it. And that's Bhagavad Gita, what to do. It's not just for Arjuna on the battlefield, but He says, any time of critical time, anytime you're suffering, you can turn to Bhagavad Gita, and it explains that it's only the body that suffers, you know, not us. We're eternal. And it talks about how we might not be able to see the Lord when we're in our conditioned state, but for those who have, He reveals Himself. This knowledge is meant to be revealed as our senses become more purified, as our love awakens, premanjana, treta, bhakti vilochanena. Krishna reveals Himself. It's like He can't keep Himself from us if we actually truly desire to go back to Krishna or to be with Krishna or see Krishna even. You know, he everything's based on desire. So if that desire is there, it's like he can't not reciprocate with that. It says, what is that verse? Krishna Bhakti Rasa, what's that? Mati, where the word Krishna consciousness comes from the Padyavali. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati. Yeah, Prabhupada got Krishna consciousness from this verse. But it's,
Got the slogan.
he got the, yeah, Krishna consciousness from this, and it's from the Padyavali by Rupa Goswami. He collected verses from different places. But it's like Krishna consciousness is so pure and sublime that the only price for it is lolium, greed, intense greed, the desire to obtain it. And where if you can find it anywhere, you must purchase it at any price. So it's reciprocal. We have an eternal relationship with Krishna. The love is already there. Nitya Sira Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabamnaya. It's in every living entity because we're part and parcel of Krishna. And so we just have to follow the process and it'll uncover this natural love that's already there. And everybody's looking for it. They're looking in so many different ways. And that's why the devotees were so attracted to Prabhupada. They got a taste of that pure love. You know, he helped to awaken that natural, unconditional love. Go ahead.
Uh, would anybody have any questions? I could say so many things just on what she just said.
Go ahead.
Not disagreeing, agreeing what she
Yeah.
said.
Yeah,
Uh,
correct me.
Well, like in the Bhagavad Gita itself, it says, Vedaischa savayam aham eva vedo vedanta krit veda veda eva chaham. The Ved, by all the Vedas, Krishna is to be known. And Krishna is speaking the Bhagavad Gita. The whole Vedas is dealing to get to come to know Krishna. That's the ultimate goal of the Vedas. And this is spoken by that person that is the goal of the Vedas. So he's telling us in a short, concise way how to come to him. Like she mentioned, it's like in a book in the material world. I don't know if you have Boy Scouts here. Well, you ever heard of Boy Scouts? Girl Scouts? I don't know. But anyway, they get manuals of how to live in the forest, how to start a fire, how to avoid poison ivy, how to function in the forest, how to survive. This is a book of how to survive in the material world and then get out of it. That's what the Bhagavad Gita is. So, any questions? Again.
And this is a burning forest.
What?
It's burning forest.
Burning forest.
Yes.
It's a burning.
Burning forest.
It's like-
Samsara Dhavana. It's a burning forest.
the burning forest. I didn't
Yeah.
hear the forest. I thought it's burning for it.
Yeah, burning forest.
That's why, anyway, my hearing, maybe you're also talking to. Yes, it is a burning forest fire, and this thing you can extinguish it by the mercy of the spiritual master who just gives us Krishna, not giving anything else.
And even the verse we read yesterday in Bhagavad Gita, there's no true superior to me. Krishna himself is saying it. How can you deny,
Okay, I'd like to make one comment that people don't misunderstand, because in this verse, purport explains that we're not different from God. We are different from God. We're simultaneously one with and different from. We are a little tiny fragmental part and parcel of God, like a drop from the ocean. We have the same quality. The drop has the same quality as the ocean. We have the same quality as God, but a vast difference in quantity. The ocean is vast. You don't mind getting a drop of the ocean on your head. You don't want the whole ocean on your head. There's a big difference. So we are eternal. We are full of knowledge. We are full of bliss. The same qualities that are God. So we're part and part. We're his parts and parcels. He wants us back. He wants us to be happy. He's created us all, although we're eternal. Go figure.
Even Prabhupada said once we're like a sample God, because it's a little sample, but not God, but a sample, because we expand, Krishna expands into unlimited. There's one.
That's a fact.
Convert.
It's one. You were saying.
There's one, but he expands into so many, Yes, Parasya Shakti Vividhaya Shriyate. He has unlimited energies, but they all expand from him Eko Bahusham. Originally, there's one, but he expands. Even we are part and parcel of God. Just we haven't, because we identify with the body, which is so limited, or the mind, which is also limited.
He is the supreme controller, and we are tiny controllers. It's not that we can't control anything, but there's no comparison to what we can control and what he can control. So we're little samples. Here's a sample of the controller. And then there's the supreme controller who's controlling all the sample controllers.
But there can only be one supreme enjoyer in this spiritual world in Goloka Vrindavan. So if you have that desire, you get, he builds this whole world for us to try to realize that. And we have to come to the point where we realize that we can't, can't enjoy separate from Krishna. Any questions? I don't know. We don't have much time, right?
No. Somebody have a question? Relating to this or relating to anything in Krishna consciousness?
There was
Anybody else? Nanda Gopal.
Thank you very much for enlightening class. So near the end of the class, but in beginning also, the essence was that the mentality to enjoy separately from Krishna is not ideal or not recommended. So in the neophyte stage, when we are starting bhakti process, just because of our previous life and current conditioning, that mood is not very spontaneous, like where we, because it's like I am doing, so enjoyment, we are at the center. So my question is that if you can share from your personal experience or just from Prabhupada's guidance, how to develop that mood sincerely, where we are always keeping enjoyment of Krishna at the center and have that mood, because keeping that mood day in day out, it's challenging.
I think it's what yesterday she mentioned, it's devotional service and practice, Vaidhi Bhakti. You just practice. And as someone mentioned yesterday, if you can practice it, you can perfect it. So we just keep practicing, and there's so many things. We have to be determined, we have to be enthusiastic, and we have to be patient. It's not going to happen all at once. Prabhupada gives the example of a woman gets married and she wants to have a baby. She has to wait at least 10 months before she can have a baby. So we should be patient, and we have this whole lifetime to perfect our life. It's not like we have to do it immediately. We have a whole lifetime. That's what it's for. But we have to start practicing as do as good as you can now, learn as much as you can now, so that later on you'll be able to pass the test at the end, which is the end of your life, if you can remember Krishna. And Prabhupada did say that Lord Chaitanya will come to help us to remember Krishna, or Prabhupada will come and help us. He has in the past with devotees at the time of death to remember Krishna. So if you're just sincerely trying, doing your best, even there's problems, even there's faults, you don't give up, you will become perfect. You will go back home, back to Godhead. And as she said, we're all, she didn't say we're all Prakriti and there's Purusha, but she said, she didn't use the words, but she said the same thing. We're all meant to be enjoyed by Krishna. But when Krishna enjoys, we enjoy. So, and then you can experience that even in this life. If you really surrender to Krishna, you'll feel really, really happy. It's reciprocal. So practice more.
Like the verse I quoted, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabonai. The second part, the first part is that Krishna consciousness is love for Krishna is eternally established in the hearts of every living entity. The Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karaye Udai. And to reawaken it, Shravana Kirtanam. Keep hearing and chanting. It always comes back to that because this is the process for the age.
Well,
Hearing and chanting.
also one devotee, Suradas, his Prabhupada
Oh.
disciple, passed away. He says, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Sweepanam, Mapanam. So it's doing practical service also. Real nice devotee. He was a big book distributor for so many, many years. What?
I had a question. This,
You gotta speak loud.
so we have seen that when we do, there are these two things: preaching. If you do a program, enroll people, invite them to the temple or some place we have arranged. The other is book distribution. Now we have seen that when we do book distribution, then most of the people take books, but they don't turn up for a program, if we call them. And when we just register people for the program, to start a preaching program or motivation group or like that, then they come for the program. But along with that, few of them may take books, and eventually they may take books, but on the spur of the moment or at that moment of registration, then they don't take books. So what happens is like we tried this out in MIT. We distributed
You
books.
try to what?
At MIT.
Oh,
We distributed books. A lot of people took books. We got 40, 50 contacts. Not a single person came for the program. So, so we sort of understood that okay, if we have to do book distribution, then we don't put in or expect any enrollments, not for the program to start a program. And if we do a program, then we keep the books on the secondary side. We just say okay, come for the program. Now I wanted to ask that as a community or as a temple, what we should keep as a mission. Should it be book distribution? Then we fight for numbers, not that way. And should it be that way that okay, book distribution is so much that even the community fills up to a substantial extent, or it should be okay, numbers of devotees, and then it should be so much that okay, some substantial book distribution also happens. So, like as a community or temple, what should be the year-long mission? Like book distribution
Well,
or
I mean, they're both important. Prabhupada once mentioned about a different, he was talking about a train. It runs on two tracks, so they both have to be there. Now, the book distribution is people do read the books, but they don't just read them right away. Especially in America, they'll get a book and they may read a little bit, or they may put it on the shelf, and then Krishna is in their heart. And then at a certain time when things are really bad, which will happen because it happens to everybody, it's the material world, it's a place of suffering. From the highest planet down to the lowest, all the places of misery when repeated birth and death take place. So when the right, and if they're somewhat sincere, Krishna will direct them. Why don't you read that book? They're not going to know Krishna's telling, but somehow Krishna will get them to see the book, and they pick it up, they read it, then they see how they can come to the temple, and they come to the temple after reading, and that definitely happens. In India, it may be a little different, although Bhakti Siddhanta, he was only in India, and he said, if you ever get money, print books, not build temples. Like here, we're not building a temple, you're converting a building into a temple. So and you're using it for preaching Krishna consciousness. To me, this is what we should do. And if we get money, we should print books. I mean, besides maintain the temple, fix that wall over there. So it takes, Prabhupada said, every endeavor takes capital. So you have to maintain, but once you're maintaining, you have extra money, that's used for preaching, for either books or pandals, or Prabhupada did pandals in India, and they had thousands of people come, so if, whatever works best for making devotees, but the book distribution has to be there, can't be neglected. And even when, if you can get people to come and then explain to them about the books and get them to purchase a book, that's really good because they're already coming. Westerners aren't going to come. They'll buy a book. They have money. They'll buy a book, and then maybe they'll read it. Maybe they won't. But Prabhupada even says that in a war, there's a machine gun. There's bombs, but you can just, if you can't control yourself. He said, there's a machine gun. A machine gun just shoots, as you hold the trigger, and this is called an automatic. I'll teach you a little about guns now. This is an automatic weapon. It's, you're holding the trigger, bullets keep coming out. Semi-automatic is as fast as you can pull the trigger each time, bullets will come out. So automatic weapon, they calculate, the military, out of how many bullets go out, one is going to hit someone. Because we're trying to hit the enemy, that's the whole purpose. So I don't know what the calculation is, 1 out of 1,000, 1 out of, whatever it might be. Similarly, Prabhupada said those books, he was talking about the small books, they're like bullets. And you have to give out so many, and one is going to change one life, out of so many books. And then he says, then the big books are like what? Bombs. And when a bomb blows up, there's a lot more damage. So to distribute books, you really can't think that each book is going to do something, but you just distribute enough of them, and a certain percentage will have effects. So that's why you have to distribute a lot of books. Shiva.
Even if the people don't read it themselves, sometimes they have someone else who will pick it
Oh,
up
yeah.
and who's ready to hear it, to read it. You never know. The book is Krishna, so he'll find the recipient.
One devotee, his parents bought a book and brought it home. They never done anything. He read it and became a devotee.
Yeah. Yeah, there's many cases like that. Mm.
So both are needed, and whatever, you have to preach according to time, place, and circumstance. So it may be a little different, but you can't skip books. You have to have books, even if it isn't the main preaching. In America, there are many, many temples, because now we have, most temples are full of Indians. And all the Indians in America have really good jobs that make a lot of money. And they're building these huge temples. And I don't think it's necessary, because it's more necessary for the Indians, but we're supposed to be preaching mostly to the local people. And that gets neglected, because the local people don't care if it looks like a big temple. They are attracted to that too, but it's not worth putting in millions and millions of dollars just to attract a few people. But if they get books and they come, even in our old temple, something's wrong with this thing. Gotta do your job. In our old temple, we had people come that've been to other temples, but it was a house, just a two-story building. Was the temple room and the kitchen. Upstairs was living quarters, and they came and they felt really like, this is nice. It's just a house. It's a warm feeling. It's a family, and they really like that. So that's the Westerners. And we had some Indian people come and they said, this is not a temple, this is a house. So the different types of preaching in different places. Uh, So anyway, I understand what you're saying, and if you're successful in getting people to come, those people will have to be purchasing books once they become sincere. They want to know. He's saying all these things. He remembers all these things. This person, I want to know what these things are. And then they'll get the book. So either way, in that way, if you do it for the people coming, you have a lot better chance, a lot of higher percentage of the people reading the books, as if you just go out and just distribute it, especially in the West. So, but book distribution, when Prabhupada was here, he stressed that more than anything. I'm not sure if he stressed it as much in India. He did. When he had Pandal programs, he sold so many books. So he did sell a lot of books, and he'd sign it. So everybody bought a book, getting it signed by Prabhupada.
But sometimes he did also say that you're selling my books but not reading them. So it's important that we, like the two tracks, this is also can be two tracks, preaching
Yeah.
and then personal development.
Yeah. Here in
Bhagavad
Jenny.
Gita and yeah. So that's important. Or boil the milk.
Yes.
It's
At
like
one
they all
point,
have to.
I was a devotee when Prabhupada said, okay, now it's time to boil the milk
Yeah.
for us to really get fixed in Krishna consciousness. When I moved in a temple, there was, well, of course, Japa, Srimad Bhagavatam class, there was Bhagavad Gita class, there was a Ishopanishad class, there was a Krishna book class every day for the devotees, because Prabhupada wanted to boil the milk, wanted devotees to, because what is the use of just having a whole bunch of people going out selling books and not knowing anything? Then there's the whole movement is gone. But if they get fixed up, then they're going to stay. So that's really important to have programs to educate, the devotees. That's the most important, and take care of the devotees. And not like you just make a devotee and then you just neglect them. We have to encourage them, but we don't have to do what some people in the West, devotees, how we have to acknowledge them making, in front of everybody at the Sunday feast, this person did this. It's like, you got to do that to everybody. It's like Prabhupada never did that, but he encouraged everyone, so you can encourage without having to, although sometimes we would do that, like for feast sponsors, we'd say who's the feast sponsor, and we give them a plate of prasada, something like that we would do, or we still do. So we do have to encourage devotees, but even what I really liked because these are Indian people who are telling us this, that in the corporate world, that's what you had to do, and that's what we should do. We should make big things. And I remember when they told us there was a few Gujarati devotees, and they said, no, it's like
Yeah.
they're completely against that. We do it because we want to do it. We're doing it for Krishna. We don't need all this. I really
Recognition.
like that.
Yes.
I'm not saying that other devotees from other parts of India don't feel that way, but there happened to be some Gujaratis, and they were really against the recognition. Even an example of that is some Westerner went to India with his Indian friend and stayed at his house, and his mother, the Indian mother, was serving the Western devotee in different ways, giving him this. And he'd say, thank you. And she says, why does he keep saying thank you? Why is he doing that? And it was bothering her. She's doing it because it's a service, it's a duty. She doesn't need thank you, she felt there's something, but it's a different culture. So So anyway, the Indian culture, you don't have to thank. I remember driving in a taxi. The taxi driver didn't know where he's going. He stops, he said to ask the guy some direction. The guy tells him all these things, and then he drives. Sorry. Then he just drives. He doesn't say thank you. And I'm thinking, why? After he says it, he just drove. He didn't say another word to the guy. I just thought that was so impolite. But it's a culture. You don't have to thank people. They do it. It's their service. It's their duty. You know. So a lot of people don't want to thanking anyway.
Recognition.
What?
Recognition.
Yeah. But we can do it in ways that they'll know we're noticing that they're doing a lot of nice service. And
He's saying this
encouraging.
because we had someone at our temple who wanted to acknowledge certain people for certain things. But then you have to acknowledge everyone. Everyone's doing service,
You know.
you know?
Yes, I got it, Madhavi, because like those who are practicing his disciples, they should not think that the temple should thank me for everything. They should have that consciousness, chakshudan nilave, janme janme Prabhu say. Even if I serve life after life, still I can never repay what I got.
Right, right. And also you're making it look like one service is more important than another. You know, they're all, whatever you do is,
Then in the whole temple we are just thanking.
yes, 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 yes. But
Right,
announcing, you know, they
right.
wanted to announce it and give him a gift and everything.
Right. And they were willing to pay for the gifts. That's they just want, it's like they have this idea and it's not what, when Prabhupada was here, that never happened.
No.
And I'd like to try and maybe make some small changes if it need be, but why do that? Then everybody expects you gotta do that. Or then, why is he not thanking me? I also did something. So I'd like to thank all of you. But I want to just tell you one thing about, you can never repay. But anyway, this was a little different. Hridayananda Swami, which I'm sure most of you know, his disciple, and his disciple borrowed money from his guru. And then after some time, he asked for the money, and he says, you can never repay the guru. So the gurus have to be very careful about lending to their disciple.
It will be nice if you can share when you got slippers for Shloka.
Oh, it's already a half hour late. Does anybody have to go? I don't know if the people have to go to work.
Today is which
It's Sunday.
Oh, okay. Sunday, at least in the Bible, is a day of rest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
The project sometime at the same time we distribute books to the people who are in the process of becoming devotee. So when we approach them with the book, so they feel that okay, this person made all the relationship just to give me the book and get the money. So how to avoid that, like that thing?
I don't quite,
Like when we are trying to give books
yeah.
to the people who are in the process of becoming devotees
Right.
or who are already devotees, so they feel too much the burden of the money, and they feel, "Hey, I think this person is trying to make the relationship and all the
Who feels the
the
burden?
other person to whom we are trying to give the book.
They feel, that you just want money?
They feel that we just want money or something like that. So the preaching it's hampered. So they stop coming for the program. Like it happened with me. One boy stopped coming for the program just because I approached him with a 30 rupees book. So he thought that like, I'm trying to just.
Well,
So there's something wrong with that word.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Well,
people look for excuses.
it's also, you can present it that we have this book, it's 30 rupees if you like it, it's a real good book. Otherwise, doesn't matter.
Just keep coming.
You have to a little bit they can't feel pressured. They can't feel pressured. Sharma Sundar was asked, well, Prabhupada told Shyamasundar to ask George Harrison, who was one of the Beatles, for, I think he needed something.
$7,000?
18,000, I think it was. What?
I don't remember the
I think it was
exact-
$18,000, which was a lot of money at that time, a lot more than it is today. And Shyamasundar told Prabhupada, no, Srila Prabhupada, it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea because if we ask him, because that's what people do, they all ask, they make friends and they ask him. He's just going to get turned off and he's going to really be upset. And Prabhupada said, no, you just ask him. You just ask him. So he went and he spent the whole day with George Harrison and he's thinking he has to ask him for $18,000 to print the Krishna book. And he didn't want to do it. And then finally, when he was going to do it, he put the blame on Prabhupada, that Prabhupada wants you, if you can donate. He didn't say he wants him. He wants Prabhupada wants you to, to donate $18,000 so he can print this Krishna book. And it says George Harrison's face, he was like really upset, really like fried. Why is he asking? And at that instance, there was a thunder, there was lightning, thunder, and the lightning hit the house. All the lights in the house went off when he got upset about giving the money. And then finally, when the lights turned on, he had a big smile and he said, what can I say? When he didn't want to do it, Krishna just sent a lightning bolt. So he saw that God, Krishna, wants this. So he was obliged and he wasn't upset at all. So sometimes you have to ask people for things when it's necessary, but you have to do the best to not make it look like you just want money. It's to help them, you know.
Right, if you explain the book, what's in it. But I think most really sincere people becoming devotees wouldn't get upset.
Right.
They know the mission, they know this
And
sort of movement.
actually, then we are doing the right thing because we are connecting them to Prabhupada. If we
Yeah.
just keep speaking, they will just keep listening us. So if we are always scared that that person will mind why I'm giving book, but I'm connecting to Prabhupada. I don't have the purity to make you a third devotee. So please connect to them.
We had one devotee in our temple. He was coming to our temple regularly. This is with Grani, Grani. So, and people, the devotees, because they're trying to cultivate him, they would just give him a book. They wouldn't ask him for money. And then he met me. And I, asked him to give money for the book. And he gave it. And then later on, he told me he wanted to give money, but nobody asked, and he felt like maybe I shouldn't do it. He was so happy that somebody finally asked him for money. He had money, and he wanted to give it, but he felt uncomfortable, like it may be the wrong thing. I don't know how you deal with these Hare Krishnas. But he was very happy to give money. And he told me that so many people, different devotees, gave him books and nobody ever asked him. And he wanted to give, but they didn't ask, and he didn't want to make them feel bad. Like, for instance, you give me some prasadam and I give you, I take out some money to give you. It's like, especially, I'm saying as a devotee, for some karmi, non-devotee wants to give for prashadam, we take from anything, but you're not expecting, and you feel bad if they try to offer you something. So he was feeling that way. That's why he didn't give. But anyway, can you end the class?
Ended?
You want to say something?
No, I did, but I forgot what it was.
Well, when I said ended,
Because I
she
started
forgot.
listening.
She ended it.
In the purport, but it was there. When such an illusion is eradicated by knowledge and renunciation, the living beings are responsible actors and enjoyers also. The sense of enjoyment in the Lord is real, but such a sense in the living being is a sort of wishful desire only. So in these two statements, like Prabhupada is saying, when that illusion is eradicated, the living beings are responsible actors and enjoyers also. That means we are enjoying in relationship with Krishna. We are
Yeah.
giving enjoyment to Krishna.
Yeah.
This is-
Sanatan
Otherwise, it's just a wishful desire.
material.
And then second point I want to ask, Manji, we are getting so much knowledge. We try to practice also. But the renunciation element means not to do activities that are not beneficial for Krishna consciousness. How to be determined because we waste our time. We have more scope to do more service, but the renunciation part is not there that much. So how to increase our renunciation, not to waste time in activities that are harmful, like browsing or watching this Prajalpa. What's happening around?
Well, you can look at it as renunciation, or you can look at it as sense gratification,
Yeah.
giving up sense gratification.
How to be more determined because we like the positive part of Krishna consciousness. So do's we are doing, but for the don'ts, okay, following the four regulative principles, for the subtle don'ts, that we can be more engaged. But how to increase that?
Well, Prabhupada says in the Vaisheshastakam, real renunciation is the result of genuine spiritual emotion. So it's again experiencing the higher taste. If we're experiencing the higher taste, we'll lose the taste naturally. We don't want artificial renunciation, but we want to experience Krishna so that automatically we lose. But in the beginning, we have to practice like rise early, you know. So there has to be some control. Like that's why we have the four rules and regulations and stuff like that. But if we stay tight with the devotees also, they're not engaging in these extra, these other activities. So the more we associate with the devotees, we're more likely to engage in what they're engaging in. Like birds of a feather flock together. If you associate with drunkards, you'll become a drunkard. You know, I think it's again sadhu sangha. 111.
No, I liked what you said about renunciation is a result.
That's Prabhupada.
Right.
Yeah, that's really where it comes from. The automatic.
And that one thing, like for the genuine spiritual emotion, like there is some gratitude for Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada disciples, but we are not 24 hours filled with that gratitude. So, now you have come, we are also happy, excited. So, how to keep that in our heart and every day be filled with that gratitude towards Param Guru and present Gurus?
I guess practice. We're not all pure devotees. We're mixed, and do as much as we can, and then gradually we'll want to do more and more and more. And always remember Prabhupada's example. You know.
I'd say also, just like japa, when you're chanting japa, does anybody's mind ever wander? So our minds go all over the place, and sometimes we're chanting for a long time and then realizing we're not even hearing, we're not paying attention. So when you get to the point of realizing that you're not hearing, then you just bring it back and you try again to hear the holy name. And every single time, there may be a long space, maybe a short space, when you realize you're not listening, so then you bring it back. So the same thing with sense gratification that you want. So when you realize I'm doing this, you could Hare Krishna, take shelter of Krishna somehow. There's 9 processes of devotional service. Any one of the 9 processes you can take shelter of. So you have to first realize that you're doing it, and then you can do something about it. But the more you do that, the more you're showing Krishna what you want. Man proposes, God disposes. Then he's going to help you to remember him more. Then he's going to help you to hear the holy name more. But you have to show, not by what you say, but by what you do, by your actions. You're showing Krishna what you want by your action. I want to be a billionaire, but I ain't doing anything about it. So it's not a real strong desire. I do want to be a billionaire, by the way. but it's not a strong. I don't do anything to be rich or to get money. It's like doesn't really matter. But if somebody offered it, I'd take it. So if any, no, but you do show Krishna what you want by your desires. So if I really wanted a lot of money, I'd work. My mind would be thinking all the time how to make money, how to get money, how to not spend money, how to, my mind would be absorbed in that. And then Krishna would fulfill my desire to the point of the karma I have, because I have only so much karma to work with. But if that's what I wanted. So similarly, if you want Krishna, then every time you forget Krishna, if you bring it back, Krishna will help you to remember him more and more. But you have to show him by your actions. It's not physical action, it's a mental action, but it's an action that I don't want this. Krishna, please help me to think of you. Or please help me to hear my rounds. Or please help me to not get attracted to anything in this external world. And every time you do get attracted, you bring it back. Krishna, I don't want this. I want you. And then it'll make it easier. So you have to make that effort. And of course, having good sadhana helps.
I like Mother Yashoda. The two fingers, the rope being too short, represented effort and mercy. Both have to be there. Mother Yashoda showed how much she wanted to, tie Krishna. She kept tying him, run, get more rope, tie him, tie him. Finally, Krishna relented, seeing how much she wanted to tie him. Of course, it's by love. He was bound by her love. One time I was at a japa retreat, and there were these two moths. It was dark outside and light inside, and so these two moths were on the glass door wanting to come in. They're showing how much they wanted to come in, but they're at the mercy of somebody inside to open the door. Both have to be there.
The mercy was for the moths, not for the devotees inside.
No, maybe they don't like moths. I don't know. Yeah, it's mercy and effort. But we have to show. If you really do want something, you'll automatically show it, work toward it.
Right. If you really want
And
it.
it's gradually, it'll happen.
Yes.
One question. Both of you have been practicing Krishna consciousness for more than 4 decades right now, and you were like 5 decades, and both of you were at very front and foundation of our movement. So, question I wanted to ask, like, what are your expectations, like personal expectations toward the new generation?
What are your expectations from us?
What do we expect from you?
Yeah.
I expect each one of you.
Give me $1 billion.
You should, because if you expect Krishna will allow us to fulfill it.
I think even in the front line of our movement, so you did so from the next generation, from all of us.
Right. Well, I'm happy to see that there's so many young devotees who are serious about Krishna consciousness, because it means our movement will go on for so many more years, and then there'll be more coming. And and just like Prabhupada said, this movement is gonna be on for like 10,000 years, and it's only little over what?
How many years do you have? 60. Still now there's
60, yeah.
59 years.
So we have a long ways to go, and it's good to see that it's expanding. The movement is expanding. You're opening up more centers. It's expanding way more in India than it is in the US. In the US, it's maintaining. Even Prabhupada said, if you just maintain, keep whatever we have, maintenance is also in the mode of goodness, but it's just maintaining is really not enough in Krishna consciousness. You have to do more. You have to expand. Yes, that was okay. So I see it. I'm happy to come here and I see so many young devotees, boys and girls that are serious about Krishna consciousness. And you have to stick with it and you have to learn all these things of not giving it up. Maya is going to give you so many reasons why you should give up Krishna consciousness. And she's not going to give it, not going to say it all at once, just leave, stop chanting. No, just a little bit. You just give in a little to Maya. Then next time she's going to get a little more until she finally chipped away at you and you're back in the material world. She's just going to start. So you have to know, first of all, knowledge, jnana. You have to know what you should do and what you shouldn't do. That you have to have. And the next thing is vijnana, applying it to your life. And if you don't apply it all to your life, that's okay. But whatever you're applying, you can't decrease. Like for instance, you're chanting now 2 rounds a day. You can't later go to 1. You can always expand. You can, first of all, if you make a vow to chant 2 rounds a day, your minimum is 2. You can chant 10, 20, whatever, but your minimum is 2. Then when you see you got your minimum, you're doing it very easily, then you raise it to 4 rounds, 3 rounds, whatever. And eventually you come to a minimum of 16 rounds. And then you can always chant more rounds, but you can't chant less. So similarly with any service you're doing, don't give in to sense gratification. In Gurukul in America, one of the students was saying, like, why can't we, what would be wrong with like smoking marijuana one time? What would be wrong with that? If you just did it one time. And the answer the devotee gave was, because if you do it once, then you're going to be weaker in your spiritual life and she's going to get you to do something else. It's no end. There's no end to Myers. What?
Allurements.
Trap. Yeah, well, not just trap. It's,
Allurements.
what?
Allurements.
Allurements. There's no end to she's not going to just sit back and say, oh, I'm getting tired dealing with this stuff. She's always going to keep getting you until you're completely absorbed and she doesn't have to work with you anymore. Then she can work on some other people. You're on automatic. You just into sense gratification. So, it's kind of like if you give her an inch, she'll take a foot, or what's a centimeter? And so we have to not give in, because she's not going to like say, okay, that's all I want from you. Just do this and that. Now you're okay. I won't bother you anymore. She just keeps doing it very expertly. So you just have to be determined. You have to first have the knowledge, know what you should do, and then be determined to do it. And know Maya. One time, I'm telling you stories from the 70s, early 70s, where devotees, we don't know hardly anything. But anyway, one devotee, he looked we're in the men's room, had a big bathroom, and so early in the morning, everybody's in there. And this one devotee looks in the mirror and he says, Maya, Maya, Maya. And then everyone else said, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So we have to focus on the positive, not the negative. Of course, it's probably better than saying, so beautiful.
We'd also like to ask everyone to remember Prabhupada, keep him in the forefront, and no matter what happens, he's always preeminent Shiksha Guru for all of us. We wouldn't be here without him. We wouldn't know anything without him, his books, and the program. He's given us everything. So that's what we hope for the future, that they always keep Prabhupada in the forefront. Because so many other things can happen, come and go and whatever, but he's always there. Next 10,000 years. Yeah. That's what
Just adding to that, as you said, we should not give little space to Maya because then she will take more and more. But how Maya tricks us, we keep a fixed time slot for Krishna, and rest of the day we behave independent of Krishna. And we think because we are doing this much bhakti, we know it is going to be going the eternal credit. So we become very rigid that not to do more bhakti, and we keep more time free for Maya to attack us. So, like what we should, how we should behave with Maya, we are behaving that way with Krishna. Like only this much to Krishna, no more Krishna consciousness. How to get rid of complacency in spiritual life.
Well,
Well, Prabhupada did say that we, especially as Westerners, are not sufficiently afraid of Maya. You know, but I don't know. Us Westerners have experienced a lot of Maya.
Well, the devotee told Prabhupada once, Srila Prabhupada, I'm in Maya.
I've fallen into
And,
Maya.
I've fallen
I've
into
fallen
Maya.
into Maya.
And Prabhupada says, he says, you're always in Maya. Sometimes you fall into Krishna. So anyway, if you're sincere, that's probably the most important thing. What do you really want? If you really want Krishna, I mean, everybody here really wants Krishna. I feel certain about that. But we have to want Krishna more than we want anything else. We have to at least come to that platform and then eventually come to the platform where we only want Krishna. We don't want anything else. But that takes time. We may have other desires. As long as they're not against the religious principles, it's okay. It's not bad. But ultimately, I mean, it is bad. Any Maya is bad, and wanting something separate from Krishna is always bad. But it's acceptable and it's normal. But we have to want Krishna more than anything else. So if I have a choice, I have to have this or Krishna. We have to take Krishna, whatever that other thing is. It's got to be Krishna. We have to want Krishna more than anything. And then Krishna will give you himself. But it may take many, many years, but we have to keep practicing. It's only an hour. It was supposed to be. Okay. Anything else? So we can just go on. I don't know what's next. Shut. Oh, you're hungry. But it's Pushadam, so it's not Maya. It's okay. Okay. Anyway, thank you. This is like a family, and it's really nice to have that atmosphere. It's not so big. Sometimes when it gets too big, you lose that family feeling and spirit. So I think it's really nice how everybody's, nice, happy family, all engaged in serving Krishna. So, well, that's all for our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada.
Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhu ki jai. Jivan
Narendriya Naka.